There's a moment that comes for every man. It's quiet. It happens alone. You're staring at the wall or the ceiling or your reflection, and the question arrives like a blade. Why do I keep losing when I do everything right? You played fair. You told the truth when others lied. You gave credit when you could have taken it. You waited your turn while others cut the line. And what did it get you? A hollow chest and a growing list of people who took what you offered and walked away. Here's the part that burns. They're not even sorry. They're winning. They're sleeping fine. And somewhere deep inside, you're starting to realize something terrifying. That fairness might be the very thing that's destroying you. This is about Machiavelli, not the cartoon villain you've been told about, but the man who looked at power with surgical eyes and told a truth so uncomfortable that we've spent 500 years trying to bury it. The truth is this: the world does not reward virtue. It rewards the appearance of strength. And if you keep playing fair in a game where no one else is, you're not noble. You're just food. Let's go deeper. Picture him. The guy at your job who stays late every night. He's the one who covers when someone calls in sick. He's the one who fixes other people's mistakes without complaining, who shares his ideas in meetings only to watch someone else present them as their own. A week later, he's competent, he's reliable, he's kind, and he's invisible. Now picture the other guy, the one who talks louder, who takes credit smoothly, who never apologizes but always seems to land on his feet, who plays politics like chess while everyone else plays checkers. He doesn't work harder, he works smarter. And by smarter, I mean he understands something the nice guy refuses to accept. People don't respect effort, they respect power. The promotion comes, you already know who gets it. The nice guy sits at home that night, staring at his phone, wondering what he did wrong. The answer is nothing. And that's the problem. He did nothing wrong. He just thought fairness was a strategy. It's not. It's a liability. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince because he was cruel. He wrote it because he was honest. He watched good men lose and bad men win, and he asked the question no one wanted to answer. What if morality is just a cage we build for ourselves while others run free? Here's his first lesson, the one that changes everything. The world judges you not by your intentions but by your outcomes, not by your heart but by your results. And if you're getting walked over, it doesn't matter how pure your motives are. You're still losing. Let me be clear. This isn't about becoming a monster, it's about stopping being prey. There's a difference between cruelty and ruthlessness. Cruelty is hurting people for pleasure. Ruthlessness is protecting your interests without apology. One is weakness disguised as power. The other is power disguised as nothing at all. So what does ruthlessness actually look like? It starts with information. The fair man tells the truth. He's transparent. He thinks honesty builds trust. And sometimes it does. But it also builds vulnerability. Every time you reveal your full position, you hand someone a map to exploit you. Machiavelli knew this. He said the wise prince keeps his intentions hidden until the moment they become irrelevant to hide. Think about negotiations. The guy who shows all his cards first, he loses. The guy who smiles and nods and gives nothing away, he controls the frame. He lets the other person talk themselves into a corner while he calculates. This isn't dishonesty, it's discretion. It's understanding that not everyone deserves access to your strategy. Here's a story. Two men start a business together, equal partners. One is open about everything, his fears, his finances, his backup plans. He thinks this is trust. The other listens carefully. He shares less. He asks more questions. He learns his partner's pressure points, his weaknesses, his desperation timelines. When the business hits trouble, guess who has leverage? Guess who renegotiates the split? Information is power. And fairness demands you give it away for free. Lesson 2. Let them compete while you calculate. The fair man jumps into every fight. He defends himself loudly. He argues back. He thinks engagement is strength. It's not. It's distraction. Ruthlessness means watching. It means letting your enemies exhaust themselves on each other while you conserve energy. It means knowing that the man who reacts emotionally has already lost. Machiavelli watched princes destroy themselves trying to fight every battle. The ones who survived weren't the bravest. They were the most patient. You see this everywhere. In offices, in relationships, in social circles. Someone insults you. The fair response is to defend yourself, to explain, to argue. The ruthless response is silence. Let them wonder. Let them overextend. Let them reveal more than you ever would. Your silence becomes a mirror, and most people can't stand what they see in it. Here's the shift. Stop seeing conflict as something to win immediately. Start seeing it as something to outlast. The man who stays calm while others panic doesn't need to be the smartest. He just needs to be the last one standing. Lesson 3. Never let them see you need them. This is the nuclear option. The fair man shows gratitude. He's available. He responds quickly. He makes himself easy to access because he thinks service builds loyalty. Sometimes it does, but more often, it builds contempt. People value what they struggle to obtain. This isn't cynical, it's human psychology. The moment you become too available, too eager, too grateful, you lose status. Not because you did something wrong, but because you gave away your scarcity, and scarcity is the foundation of value. Watch how it works in dating. The guy who texts back immediately, who clears his schedule, who chases. He's done, not because he's a bad person, but because he signaled he has nothing better. The guy who takes his time, who seems busy, who doesn't need validation, he's interesting, he's a challenge. It's not fair, it's just true. Machiavelli understood this in politics. The prince who begs for loyalty gets none. The prince who acts like he can walk away at any moment, everyone fights to stay in his favor. Ruthlessness means engineering your own scarcity. It means being willing to lose people who don't respect your value. And most importantly, it means never ever showing desperation. Lesson 4. Make them need you more than you need them. This is the end game. Fairness says relationships should be equal. Ruthlessness says relationships are always about leverage, and the person with less need has all of it. Think about your job. If you're replaceable, you're powerless. If you have a skill no one else has, if you control a relationship or a process or a piece of knowledge that's critical, you own the frame. The fair man makes himself useful. The ruthless man makes himself irreplaceable. This applies everywhere. In business, in family, in friendship. The moment someone knows you'll always be there no matter what, you've lost your leverage. That doesn't mean abandoning people. It means training them to respect your boundaries by showing you're willing to enforce them. Here's the test. Can you walk away? Really walk away? If the answer is no, you don't have power. You're trapped by your own loyalty, your own fairness, your own inability to choose yourself. Ruthlessness is the willingness to choose yourself even when it costs you, especially when it costs you. Now let's talk about the backlash. Because the moment you start playing this way, people will call you cold, selfish, manipulative. They'll say you've changed, and they're right, you have. You stop letting them win at your expense. Here's what they won't tell you. They're not mad because you're wrong. They're mad because you're no longer easy to control. Fair people are predictable. They follow the rules. They can be guilt-tripped and shamed and manipulated back into place. Ruthless people can't. And that terrifies everyone who benefited from your fairness. Machiavelli wrote that it's better to be feared than loved if you can't be both. People twisted that into cruelty. But what he really meant was this. Respect comes from strength, not niceness. You can be the kindest man in the world, but if people don't respect you, your kindness becomes a target. They'll take and take until there's nothing left, and then they'll move on. So how do you actually live this? Start with a ruthless audit. Look at your life right now. Where are you playing fair and losing? Where are you giving more than you're getting? Where are you waiting for someone to notice your effort instead of demanding recognition? Write it down. Be honest. This part stings. Then make one change. Just one. Stop responding immediately to that person who only texts when they need something. Stop covering for the coworker who never returns the favor. Stop explaining yourself to people who've already decided you're wrong. Withdraw one piece of your availability. Watch what happens. Most of the time, nothing will happen, and that tells you everything. The people who disappear when you stop being useful, they were never yours. They were just feeding. Let them go. But sometimes something else happens. Sometimes people notice. They reach out. They adjust. They start treating you differently. Not because you became cruel, but because you became scarce. You became someone who might leave. And that, perversely, makes you someone worth keeping. This is the game Machiavelli saw. It's not about being evil, it's about refusing to be a volunteer victim. It's about understanding that power isn't given, it's taken. And fairness is just the story we tell ourselves while we're getting robbed. Here's the final truth, the one that lands like a hammer. The people who resent your ruthlessness are the same people who benefited from your fairness. Think about that. They're not defending morality. They're defending their access to you. They're defending a system where you lose so they can win. And the moment you stop playing, they panic. So let them panic. Let them call you names. Let them tell stories about how you've changed. Because you have. You stopped subsidizing their lives with your silence. You stopped pretending that being good was the same as being smart. You stopped playing fair in a game that was rigged from the start. Machiavelli's darkest lesson isn't that you should be cruel, it's that the world will punish your virtue if you're not strategic about it. Good men finish last not because goodness is weak, but because goodness without power is just a target. And if you're not willing to protect what's yours, your time, your energy, your respect, then you don't deserve to keep it. This isn't a call to become heartless. It's a call to become hard to exploit. To be kind, yes, but selectively. To be generous, yes, but with people who've earned it. To play fair, yes, but only with those who play fair back. Everyone else? They get strategy, they get boundaries, they get the version of you that doesn't bleed for people who wouldn't stop the bleeding. There's a strange freedom in this. Once you stop expecting fairness, you stop being disappointed. Once you stop volunteering your power, you start accumulating it. Once you embrace ruthlessness, not as cruelty, but as clarity, you realize something. You were always allowed to choose yourself. You just needed permission. Consider this, your permission. Stop playing fair with people who aren't. Stop waiting for the world to reward your goodness. Stop apologizing for taking up space. The people who matter will respect your boundaries. The people who don't will reveal themselves. And either way, you win, because you're no longer playing their game. One question before you go. Where in your life are you still playing fair, and what would change if you stopped? Think about it. Really think about it. Then do something about it. That's the work. If this hit you somewhere deep, if you felt that uncomfortable recognition, leave a comment. Tell me where you've been too fair and what it cost you. Let's build something here. A community of men who refuse to lose quietly, who choose power over applause, who understand that ruthlessness isn't the opposite of goodness. It's the guard dog that keeps goodness from becoming weakness. Hit subscribe if you want more of this. More truth that doesn't apologize. More lessons from the dark corners where real power lives. This is the work. This is the path. This is Dark Psyche, where silence becomes strength.